A Fond du Lac man's quick actions may have saved 2 kids from drowning this morning in an icy detention pond. Ben Jordan spoke with the Good Samaritan who risked his own life to rescue the kids who fell through that ice.
That Good Samaritan was riding his bike along Martin Avenue this morning. He looked over and physically saw 2 kids fall through the ice right underneath this bridge. You can see by these footprints, 2 kids went from leisurely walking on the ice to suddenly plunging into the dangerously cold water of the Fond du Lac County Fairgrounds Stormwater Detention Pond.
I'm just glad they're safe.
Safe, all thanks to Dave Tuig taking matters into his own hands. Right after he saw the young siblings fall in and scream for help, he flagged down a driver to call 911 before jumping in after them. Were you scared that you would get stuck out there too?
I didn't think of any of that.
Tuig says the pond was about 6 feet deep, where he rescued a brother and sister, both around 10 years old and couldn't swim. How thick would you say the ice was over there?
I'm guessing about an inch. Not more than that.
Safe ice thickness for walking or ice fishing is no less than 4 inches. Make that 8 to drive. Back at the detention pond, Tuig says fire and rescue crews arrived right when he got the kids to shore. Both were treated on scene without even needing to go to the hospital. Knowing that you did such a good thing, how did this make you feel afterward?
I don't know how to react. I'm just happy. I'm happy for the family.
While Tuig doesn't think much of his actions, the Fond du Lac County Fire Department is already hailing him a hero. Quote, "If the citizen wasn't passing by at the moment the kids went into the pond, it could have been a very different outcome." Tuig hopes this serves as a reminder, especially after such a mild December.
If you see open water, stay away from it. Please do, because you don't need to risk your life for anything.
In Fond du Lac, Ben Jordan, today's TMJ4.
All right, well, it took until December 23rd, and it was a bit of a Christmas miracle in overtime, but the Packers have won their first game away from Lambeau Field. Lance Allen's here right now with a look at today's win over the Jets. Lance?
A little bit of a Christmas gift, so to speak, Tom. The Packers gave up 323 passing yards. They had 10 penalties and had several special teams gaffes. Thank goodness the Jets are bad enough that the Pack could overcome all that. Despite a slow start, this warmed the heart of Wisconsin fans. The pride of Whitewater, Jake Kumerow, with his first NFL touchdown. The defense sprung a few leaks as well, and when Sam Darnold found Elijah McGuire late in the third quarter, the Jets led by 15. A pair of Aaron Rodgers rushing TDs gets it to overtime, and Rodgers to Davante Adams. That's your game winner in OT. Packers over the Jets, 44-38. The Packers avoid a winless road season. The last time they did that, 6 decades ago. With more from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, let's go live to Rod Burks. And Rod, a lot of ups and downs like a roller coaster in this one.
Well, Lance, you called it. Who would have thought 2 teams going nowhere would show this kind of fight, but that's what you got today. The Green Bay Packers showed a lot of fight, a lot of heart to get their first road win of the season. The offense got it going. Jamal Williams, 95 yards and 1 touchdown. And Aaron Rodgers, 442 yards and 2 TDs, and he had that run for a touchdown, and he had a 2-point conversion. He played great, and then he was able to find Davante Adams for the game winner. Great win for the Green Bay Packers. A lot of smiles in the locker room. Here's Coach Philbin and Aaron Rodgers after today's big win.
We had a good week of practice, and, you know, again, the game wasn't perfect. There was a lot of things we got to correct. But, you know, as I think has been mentioned, I don't know if you win this type of games if you don't have high-quality people in your locker room.
I don't want to look back in 20 years and wonder, what if I, maybe played that game? Could something special have happened? And what would it look like to my teammates if they knew I kind of quit on them? So I hope my teammates know that I'm never going to quit on them. I'm going to battle through anything I got. And they did the same.
He played great tonight. It's good that the Green Bay Packers did play him in this game, or they would not have won it. And, Lance, I'll tell you, that locker room, there was a lot of smiles. There were a lot of jokes. Guys were bumping each other. That's what a win can do for a football team. Let's see if they can get it done against Detroit at Lambeau Field. We're at MetLife Field tonight. I'm Rod Burks for today's TMJ4. Lance, back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Rod. Could be a little bit of a springboard for next year. Plenty more coming up in sports. Tom, over to you.
All right, Lance, Rod, thanks. To other news now. Early morning fire injured 2 people, claimed the lives of 2 cats. This happened near 70th and Arthur around 2 o'clock. Milwaukee Fire tells us the causes related to one of those cats, an oxygen tube, and a cigarette. There were several explosions due to an oxygen tank. One person was treated for burns, the other for injuries after jumping out of a second-floor window. A Racine man was arrested for OWI following a crash this morning in Mount Pleasant. Witnesses told police that the driver passed them at more than 100 miles an hour before the crash. The truck rolled 6 times before knocking down several signs and a light pole. The driver and passenger were not seriously hurt. And stories like these are why today's TMJ4 started Project Drive Sober. It is our effort to keep people sober behind the wheel. We have a Facebook group that you can join. Just go to facebook.com/groups/Drive Sober. More news now. It is day 2 of the government shutdown, and right now there is no end in sight. NBC's Jennifer Johnson has the latest for us from Washington.
President Trump at the White House, not Florida, while the government is partially shut down. Most senators have left town, due back December 27th to resume this budget battle. But Democrats are not budging on the president's $5 billion demand for a border wall.
There is frankly no path towards his getting $5 billion in American taxpayer money to meet his campaign promise of a big, beautiful wall with Mexico. There is a path towards our responsibly appropriating about $1.3 billion for border security.
Day 2 of the shutdown, leaving 800,000 federal workers without paychecks. A top White House official now predicts this goes into the new year.
It's very possible that the shutdown will go beyond the 28th and into the new Congress.
Democrats want better technology at the border. The president tweeting, drones and all of the rest are wonderful and lots of fun, but it is only a good old-fashioned wall that works. Democrats thought they had a deal to keep the government open till February 8th, but say the president caved after conservatives like Ann Coulter called him gutless.
He says it's an issue of border security. I think we know better. It's an issue of his own political insecurity.
The president also dealing with more upheaval. He announced Sunday Defense Secretary James Mattis is leaving January 1st, not the end of February. Mattis resigned in protest over the president's decision to pull U.S. troops out of Syria. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
The NBC Nightly News will have more on the government shutdown and a hot new trend that has Hollywood cashing in. That's all coming up at 5:30 right here on today's TMJ4. Still ahead here at 5 o'clock tonight, how the community came together to help keep the homeless warm this season. And then the weather cooperated enough today for families to hit the ice. We'll take you to Red Arrow Park ahead. As efforts continue to get homeless people off the streets in Milwaukee today, people came together to help them stay warm. Blankets and thousands of socks were given to the Street Angels this afternoon to be delivered to the less fortunate. Atted Properties and Tikuna here helped collect the clothing through a drive.
People have fallen on tough times, and especially in the winter months when it's cold out, knowing that someone is thinking of them makes a really big difference.
Each night in Milwaukee, an estimated 1,000 people are forced to sleep outside because they don't have a place to live. Some families spent their Christmas Eve ice skating at Red Arrow Park. The sun was out and temperatures made things a little brisk out there, but that didn't stop people from bundling up and hitting the ice. One girl wanted to make sure that Santa knew that she behaved this year.
I've been bad, but not too bad. I think that I'm going to get whatever I want because I always do.
Okay, at least she's honest about her year. Hopefully her wish comes true there, and Tuesday will be a happy day for her. But as she said, she always gets what she wants. Well, what kind of weather will we be waking up to on Christmas morning? Meteorologist Jesse Ricca will return with our full holiday forecast when we come back. Well, we may not have a white Christmas, but we are talking about some flurries in our forecast. Meteorologist Jesse Ricca here now with a look at the Storm Team 4 forecast.
Yeah, and you can always go somewhere to find the white on the ground. Take a live look out in Franklin at the Rock, where folks are out there doing some tubing, sledding, and some skiing and snowboarding as well. High temperatures, though, didn't quite feel like December. Again, 40 degrees we hit today. Typically, we're supposed to be about 10 degrees colder, closer to that freezing mark. And of course, farther up north, there is a little bit of light flurry activity pushing through Fond du Lac and into the Plymouth area, heading your direction into the Sheboygan Falls area as well. Not seeing those flakes show up on our West Bend tower cam, but it is certainly looking a bit more festive. Temperatures above the freezing mark there. 36 degrees in West Bend. Right now in Milwaukee, similar story, 36 degrees with plenty of cloud cover. We did see some sunshine throughout the day today, but as we've got this cold front swinging on through, that's increasing those winds. So we've seen wind gusts today topping 20 miles an hour in many locations, and that is bringing an extra little chill to the air. So 32 in West Bend, 30 degrees in Jackson, and you add in that wind and it feels like we're in the 20s. Overnight tonight, the wind chills, we haven't talked about this for a while because we've been so warm. Wind chills are going to be in the teens to kick off your Christmas Eve morning. They'll at least warm into the 20s, but a lot of folks going to be out in the road heading to grandma's house. And if you're wondering, your grandma's house has got snow up to the north, basically from the Wisconsin Dells northward. That's where there's 1 to 3 inches of snow cover here in southeastern Wisconsin, and not so much of that going on at the moment. But again, few flurries flying with a very weak area of low pressure. As we go into the overnight hours, skies will be clearing heading into your Christmas Eve morning. Clouds are going to be increasing throughout Christmas Eve, and take a look at this. As Santa starts to make his way across the skies, behind it, we'll be looking at a few light snowflakes pushing across our skies on Christmas morning. So that could be a Christmas miracle for some of those kids. Not talking a lot. This is just going to be some flurries, maybe up to an inch, but I think most of us are going to see a very light dusting on Christmas Day. Then behind that, on your Wednesday, dry conditions if you're going to be traveling. This next big system, though, this is a monster system coming on in late Wednesday night and into your Thursday. This is going to be bringing rain, even some downpours expected on your Thursday. It is going to be raining basically off and on throughout the entire day on Thursday. Behind this, it changes over to a little bit of snow heading into your Friday. So travel alert if you're going to be going on Thursday or Friday. Watch out for that rain changing over to snow. Tomorrow, though, looking absolutely wonderful across Christmas Eve, across the entire middle section of the country. Partly cloudy skies and dry conditions. Again, on Christmas Day, very light snow possible from Minneapolis down through Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, over through Milwaukee, even up to Green Bay. May see a little bit of this light snow. Better chance to see some rain mixing in from Chicago southward, where temperatures are going to be closer to the 40s. And if you're headed up to Fargo, it is going to be a cold Christmas day, 18 degrees for a high temperature on Christmas there. Again, for us, not expecting a whole lot in terms of snowfall, less than an inch. Most of us seeing a dusting with a high of 35 on Christmas Day. Wednesday, another good travel day. Thursday, again, that rainy system pushing on through with a high of 42. How much rain are we talking? Some places could see up to an inch, maybe even an inch and a half from this system. Again, we're on the warm side, so mainly rain. Could see a brief period of snow behind this system as we get into your Friday, and then the cold starts to settle back on in as we get closer to the end of the year.
All right, well, we'll be tracking all those flakes coming in over the next 12 hours or so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, coming up here in sports, Lance is going to tell us how the Packers avoided a dubious distinction with a rare road win today.
I'll take some heat for this, but I still think it's more beneficial to learn to win away from Green Bay and not have to deal with the questions if they can win away from Lambeau Field rather than get a high draft pick for the Packers as they beat the Jets. Okay, special teams and defense, a problem all day long. Andre Roberts, 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. The Jets led by 15, but the Packers outscore New York 24-3 in the fourth quarter and overtime. Aaron Rodgers with just the second game of his career with 2 rushing touchdowns, and Rodgers to Davante Adams in overtime. That ends it. Packers win 44-38 over the Jets. Adams 1 reception shy of tying Sterling Sharp's franchise record of 112 catches in a season. The Packers avoid their first winless season on the road since 1958. Let's go live to MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Rod Burks, how did they pull out the victory?
Well, I'll tell you what they did. They used a lot of heart and a lot of grit to get the win over the New York Jets, the last place New York Jets, to get the first road win of the season. But it was important to this football team. How about Aaron Rodgers? He had 2 TD passes, 2 TD runs, and had a very important 2-point conversion. But Jamal Williams was really the heartbeat. He was running that football, Lance. 95 yards rushing. He had a TD, and he had some key blocks, and he was moving the chains and getting first downs for this football team.